Huzzah, and welcome, future and current artists, to another episode of Drawing with Dr. Doodle. Well, before we begin, you're only going to need two items. Hopefully you have these, a piece of paper and a pencil. Now, if you want to color your work in when we're done and you have a crayon or a colored pencil or markers, you can color it in when we finish today. However, if you don't have those supplies right now, you can always wait to color your work in when you get those supplies. So you know what? Let's begin. Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be doing something called Surrealism. We're going to draw two animals, and we're going to, after we finish drawing our animal, we are going to draw on top of it and transform it into something else. So in this case, we're going to start with the dog, and you can see the dog that we're going to draw here, and you can follow along. I've slowed this video down step by step, and you can follow along even with my mistakes. And from that dog, we're going to transform it into 3 or 4 different things by drawing on top of it. Now, I'm drawing this dog and the other animal that you'll find after our puzzle break. I'm drawing it on my iPad Pro, so I'm able to not worry about the mistakes I make because it's very easy to correct them. But if you're drawing this on a piece of paper, you're going to want to draw very lightly. So as you can see, I did the basic shapes and the basic lines, and now I'm starting to add details, and I'll erase some of the lines that aren't needed. And this dog's tongue is sticking out, and I'm working on the nose, and now I'm working on the details of the dog, adding the teeth. And yeah, it's a lot of fun to try to take real things, whether they be things in your house that you can look at and draw, or from a book or from the internet, and then try to transform them. Use your imagination to turn them into different things. So for the first thing that we're going to transform this dog into, or that I'm going to do, is I'm going to use a different color, and I'm going to transform this dog into a robot. So what do I need to do to make this look like a robot? Well, I'm going to add some mechanical joints. And as you can see, I'm doing this in like a grayish purple color. So this is one of the roundish circular robotic joints, and maybe there needs to be a lot of thin lines, or lines that make it look like it's metallic. And that's what I'm doing right here. And I'm going to do that on all of the legs. I'm also going to break the body up using these lines as well to make it look like it's metallic. And I'm going to add other details too, other lines to make it look like it's more robotic. And with this project, with this practice drawing thing, what you can do is you can add as much or as much detail or as little detail as you want, and you can color it in when you finish if you like what you have. Now, if you're drawing this on a piece of paper and you're not using a digital device, you might want to trace your dog, the original dog that you're drawing, onto another piece of paper, so that way you can transform it into a dragon like we're about to do it here, while still keeping the original dog and having the robot dog as well. So I added horns, and now I'm adding wings, and then I'm going to add scales. And by doing that, I'm combining two things into one, and that's why it's surreal. It's when you have two things that could be real on their own, and you combine them into one thing, it's almost dreamlike, and that's what surrealism is. The 6th graders this year were sculpting their hands and transforming those sculptures into another object as well, and that's a surrealist sculpture. So I don't do too much more other than adding scales to the wings in a little bit, as you can see right now. And then I'll add some fire coming out of the dragon dog's mouth. Again, if you're using this on a regular piece of paper and you trace your dog, you can trace it multiple times and you can follow along, so that way you can transform it into something else. The last thing I'm going to transform my dog into
is going to be a kind of bus sort of thing. Didn't like fully how it came out, and so that's why I didn't continue with all the details. But again, this is what's great about this. You can continue with whichever transformation you like the most. You can even continue to add as many details as possible to make it look more realistic. Or if you're not inspired, you can do just a little bit of a transformation and then move on to something that you're more inspired by. So here I start adding windows for this dog bus. And then I attempt to add people into the windows. We've got the driver's window, front window. Tried to add a wheel on the paw, but I didn't think it was that great, so I added the wheels underneath each paw. And it's kind of interesting, but I wasn't too happy with this, and that's why once I've got the people in the window, in the first 2 windows and the driver's side window, that's when I stop this drawing. So in a little bit, we're going to take a puzzle break, and then when we come back, we will be drawing a rhino together.
As an artist, it's a good idea to take a break from your work. Taking a break allows us to look at our work with fresh eyes and possibly with some new ideas. So that's why we're going to take a puzzle break. And what type of puzzles are we going to do on Drawing with Dr. Doodle? Well, we're going to tackle puzzles that I love to do. They're called rebus puzzles. Rebus is spelled R-E-B-U-S. And what is a rebus puzzle? Well, I'm glad you asked. Behind me is an example of just one, and we're going to walk through the solution to this puzzle right now. So what word do you see behind me? Well, take your time. If you guessed the word behind me is hurry, then you're half right. What direction is the word hurry going in? Well, take some more time to solve that. Well, if you guess that the word hurry is going up, then you have half of the solution as well. So let's combine the 2 half answers or half solutions that we solved together. Hurry, so we've got the word hurry, and the word hurry is going up. And if you heard me just say that and it clicked in your head that the answer is hurry up, then you have solved this rebus. So with that out of the way, why don't you try to solve this puzzle by yourself, but you don't need to hurry up to solve this puzzle. Take your time, and if you get your parents' permission, you can email the solution to thedoodledoctor@gmail.com. Now let's get back to the lesson.
Hello, and now we're going to be drawing a rhinoceros, and we're going to transform this 4 times. The last time you can see right here, we'll be transforming it into a ship, a sailing ship with cannons. So just like with the dog, before our puzzle break, we're going to draw the basic shapes, basic lines, take it very slowly and simply. And then we're going to, on different layers, we're going to draw, using different colors, different things to transform our rhinoceros into, well, different things. Because I'm using my iPad Pro, I'm able to take this hind leg or hind legs of this rhinoceros and shrink it. If you're drawing it on paper, I apologize for quickly shrinking this down, but I'm able to do that. And if you made a mistake, you can either erase what you have or start over or draw the rhinoceros falling off the page. Now, as you can see, the many folds of the rhinoceros I've been drawing, and I've actually been drawing it with very dark lines because I'm very confident with what I'm drawing. But if you need to, take your time, stop the video whenever you need to catch up. And as you can see, once I start finishing with all the outlines, I'm adding all the details of the rhino, and then I begin shading everything in. So we're going to be transforming this rhinoceros very simply first. I'm going to be adding some battle armor to the rhinoceros in a little bit, using, I believe, like a turquoise kind of color. And if you don't have a digital device like an iPad like I do, then what you'll want to do is trace the rhinoceros as many times as you'll want to transform it. So if you're going to follow along, you'll want to have 4 to 5 drawings of the rhinoceros. So the first one is going to be the battle armor, after I'm done drawing the shadows and the horizon line, so that way the rhino isn't just floating in space. And I'm also going to, as you can see, lighten the rhino up so that way you can see all the amazing transformations. So first there's going to be a seat, so that way the rhinoceros could be ridden into battle. And then I'm going to add a strap attached to the seat, so that way it stays put. And then from there, there's going to be the helmet, I believe. Yep, there we go. I'm going to start drawing the helmet to protect the rhino, even though it's already got very thick skin. And then the rest of the armor is going to be different plates that cover its joints. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I might be inspired to go back and not only just color it in, but maybe have a warrior riding it. Now I have a little bit of fun. I start drawing out some graffiti. So graffiti could look however which way you want it to be. It is bubble letter, and the spelling doesn't matter. I'm saying that because I forgot the H here, but that's okay. It's our graffiti. We could spell it however we want. And I get kind of I get really motivated to continue here. So I take the graffiti as it was going to be, and then I transform the rhino into like a brick wall. So that way the graffiti can be spray painted on this brick wall in the shape of a rhino. And I had a lot of fun. So as you can see, to make your brick walls look more realistic, what you'll want to do is every line, you'll want to alternate that line, and it'll look more realistic. And you don't need to fill the whole object up. As long as you fill up a decent amount, it will create the illusion of a brick wall. So now that's what I'm doing. I'm making the lines. And if you're inspired to do something else, or if you still want to do this kind of graffiti rhino, you can add the H. You can change how your graffiti looks. It doesn't need to look like mine. Have fun with it. Maybe even put your name in graffiti. And now I'm outlining with black the graffiti and making it pop out. And that will be it. That's the end of this transformation. And now we're going to do a whole other one. So first I had one idea that I didn't really like, so I stopped that. And now the rhino isn't cut in half because the rhino is now a rhino cake. It's going to be like a chocolate cake, multiple layers. And to show that it's a cake and not like just a cut in half rhinoceros, I start adding candles to it. But you can add more details, you can add more colors to it if you want to. It could be a rainbow cake. You can show the slice that has been sliced off on the plate, which I'm going to add a plate underneath the rhino cake. But you can add more details, you can add sprinkles, whatever you want. That's the beauty of making these transformations. You take real things, you take the time to draw them, and then by transforming them, you have fun adding details to them to make them look different. And now here's the last transformation. At first I was going to make it like the world, the earth, but I decided against that. And now here's how we transform it into a sailing ship. We add the sails. We'll add just the details around the edge of the ship. And again, just like with any of the other transformations, if you're inspired to add more details, if you're inspired to add color, you are more than welcome to add as much or as little color or as much or as little details as you want. This is part of what's great about art. It's however you feel motivated, however inspired you are, and how much time you're willing to put into it. That's the beauty of it. It's all up to you. So if you're not fully inspired by the graffiti, but you're more inspired by this ship transformation, add more details, add sailors, add pirates. So I hope that you enjoyed these transformations. I can't wait to see what animals you draw and what you transform.
Now it's time for me, Harold, the extremely talented art critic, to critique your artwork.
Wait, what?
Don't
I didn't
worry,
agree
Dr.
to this.
D. I won't be too harsh.
Why, thank you. What?
Okay,
Wait.
fellow art detectives, let's get critiquing. What do you see? What do you think is happening in this artwork? What materials do you think the artist used to make this artwork? Does this remind you of anything? What questions do you have about the artwork? Pretend you can enter into the artwork. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you hear? What piece of the artwork is your favorite, and why? If you could change one thing about this artwork, what would you change? How does this artwork make you feel? Can you explain why? If you had to describe this artwork to a friend, what kind of words would you use? So, Dr. D, was that so hard now?
It wasn't hard at all, Harold. Thank you.
Is how hard I will critique him next time. Until next time, future and current artists, that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed creating art with me and that I've inspired you to create as imaginative artwork in the future. If you'd like to have your work displayed on a future episode, obviously you need your parents' permission, but once you get it, you can email your artwork at thedoodledoctor@gmail.com. Well, bye!